Hey guys, this is another one of the Q&A videos about in Russia. This part is mostly dedicated to the technical side of things, how we did the analog time lapses, how we dealt with all the gear in the cold, and apparently most importantly, what lenses we used. We have timestamps in the description and you'll find the links to the other parts there as well. Have fun. Everyone asks, what cameras did you use? Please, Tim.
A lot of cameras. No, I think the biggest camera we had was the Alexa Mini, but we also had smaller cameras because this kind of project is not possible to shoot. Everything you see in the movie is not possible to shoot on the Alexa. So we had, I think, two Sony A7S2s because the version 3 wasn't out yet, and a GH5. And then also some medium format. I think we are coming to that because we did some special things with analog photography. Did I forget something, Mox?
No.
Drones.
Drones.
Drone, yeah. Mavic 2 Pro.
And then as a little follow-up, Sophia asked, what camera did you mostly shoot with?
Yeah, I think we tried to shoot everything with the Alexa Mini, but we couldn't. So whenever we couldn't, we used the other ones. When we needed a camera that could fly, we used a drone. And when we needed a camera to use for dynamic moves, we used the smaller cameras.
Well, there's also situations like, for example, you have to go to a museum, the Hermitage or something. You know, you have to do it a little bit run and gun. You can't run around with a big ass camera. Like nobody will let you do that. So there is these situations where you kind of have to rely on smaller ones, or in the subway or something. If you just film like random strangers with a very big camera, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah. That's also something to keep in mind. This kind of film is not possible to shoot on just big cameras. We are traveling a lot when we are doing these movies, and everybody of us has like a little camera right next to him, so we can shoot random stuff which happens just by passing by. Especially when you think about the last part of the film, because Vincent wanted us to shoot a lot of stuff which happened to us. So I was filming a lot of Mux and Vincent and the other way around just to be able to do the last part. But yeah, that's the cameras we use.
Everyone else also asks, what lenses did you use? I'll take a nap now, okay?
Yeah, Tim, why don't you start?
So for the Alexa, we used two different lenses. We started in Moscow, and in Moscow we were able to rent, and we shot on the Atlas anamorphics. The first setup, it was, I think, 35, 50, 85, I don't know. Like these three lenses, everything was shot on that. After that, the other trips were the Cover anamorphics, the rehoused ones from PNS. And then maybe, Mox, you talk about the other lenses on the smaller parts.
Basically, like for when we went to Moscow, which was the first trip, I wanted to kind of match the anamorphic look. So I tried to get one of these anamorphic adapters, which basically just like project the image like in an anamorphic ratio on the sensor. And you can just screw it between the lens and the sensor, and then you can use any lens you want and it will look anamorphic. For that, this is called Bolex Möller. This adapter, I got it from a friend. I used the Helios 44-2 with it, but yeah, otherwise I just used like regular, mostly Sigma photo lenses and then some vintage lenses as well.
Lucas asked, did you use any specific filters, especially in the church scenes?
No, I used filters. I had some diffusion filters with me. But in the church scene, especially when you shoot on the Cover anamorphics, there's so much halo, there's so much glow. I think that's what Lucas referring to because of the chandelier, which was up there and was glowing. But I had filters with me. I had low contrast filters. I had Hollywood Blackmagic filters, but no, most of it wasn't done with any filters.
Michael asked, the ending drone shot, was that really made only with a DJI Mavic?
Yes. Yeah, we only used the DJI Mavic 2 Pro to be exact for all the drone shots in this film. It's just the light and the content. I mean, if you're in a beautiful spot at beautiful light, You can take a really nice phone picture as well. Doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. But we have to go give some props to our colorist at this moment, to Lutz, who actually really made a wonderful job, especially on this shot. This was really, really, really nice.
Yes.
I have
Thank
to
you,
correct.
Lutz. Thank you, Lutz.
I have to correct you guys though, because we have 2 shots in there that were actually a shot with a Mavic zoom.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay. Many people again asked in some form or another, how many batteries did you have with you and how did you handle the battery charging in remote locations? I will just add right away that we had enough batteries. Don't worry about that. The charging was mostly also not a problem, but we had a little bit of a problem with batteries in Kamchatka. Maybe Tim can tell us what that was.
I was traveling alone to Kamchatka. I think the plan was to meet you there in Petropavlovsk, is it like that? Yeah, it's the name. So I was flying alone, and flying with equipment is every time it's a pain in the ass. And I went there, and I had to repack everything at the airport because whatever, Aeroflot. I don't know. I had to repack everything, and then I packed it like this. So I had just the batteries with me on the plane. Everything else I had to check in, which is normally a no-go for me. I would never do that. But and then I was sitting in the plane looking out of the window, and I saw the guys loading the plane, and this was the last bag which was loaded, and the 3 guys were standing there looking at the bag and were like shrugging their shoulders. Yeah, I don't know. And then they went off with the bag and they didn't load it into the plane. And I was like, oh my God, fuck. I went to the flight attendants and I was like, hey guys, these guys didn't load the bag and blah blah blah. And she was like, don't worry. If you are on the plane, your luggage is on the plane as well. I'm like, no, that's the other way around. Yeah, I think I was flying for 8 hours to Kamchatka. I think it was one of the worst flights I had because in my mind I was like, okay, what was the exact things I put in this bag? And I didn't know. But when I arrived in Kamchatka, my handles got lost. My viewfinder mounting thing got lost. So I couldn't rig it like completely. But the biggest pain in the ass was the chargers of the VMod batteries were in this bag. And we shot the whole Kamchatka scene, everything which was shot on the Alexa on 8 batteries, 8 95 watt-hour batteries. It was a pretty tough experience. It was like shooting on film.
Also without a rig, right? You always had this box in your hand, like looks so funny.
Then I used the zip ties. I zip tied the viewfinder to the top of the camera. Yeah,
so sketchy.
Follow-up question to this that a lot of people ask: how did the batteries behave in the cold?
Well, the Alexa batteries are totally fine. No, that was fine, but we had big issues with the Mavic batteries, right?
Yeah, it was pretty hard, and when we got used to how to use this equipment in that kind of environment, it was okay. But you cannot just leave the drone on the ground for 5 minutes and then expect to fly without problems. This just didn't work. You had to like always check the battery temperature. Whenever it was like below 15 degrees, you had to like heat it up or use another one. We put them in like inside bags, or we put like heat packs on them. We bought power banks with built-in like heating function, and we stuck it to that. So yeah, we had a lot of problems.
When the drone was actually flying, it was fine. It was okay if the temperature of the battery was
most of the time. I remember one incident in St. Petersburg when we shot these time lapses, the top shots of this bridge with the ice going under it. I just started a little bit too quickly. It was really cold. I left the drone on the ground for a few minutes, like maybe 3 to 5 minutes. And then I started and I went off really fast to have the longest time possible for the time lapse. And then it immediately said like low battery. and it's just would return. I didn't have any visual. Yeah, was landing, and I was on top of the bridge. And we were panicking. And then
I was panicking. You were super calm. Like
I wasn't calm.
I can make it.
I was just really focused. At one point, like, what did I do? I think I turned around, and then I flew in one direction and checked if the signal was getting better or something, because I didn't have any visual or something. So I just went, like, when I found it, I went full power into our direction, and I just landed it because the drone was getting, like, losing altitude. So I just landed it on ground, and we made it. But that was kind of close.
And we're all still alive.
Yeah, we didn't crash a drone, right? In Russia.
Let's not talk about crashing drones.
Okay.
Moving on. Let's continue. Moving on, please. Thank you. This is a good question that I like about equipment. Lena asked, what didn't you use?
Which we brought.
The Easy Rig.
Guys.
I think you didn't really use it.
I didn't use the Easy Rig. Fuck the Easy Rig. No, never. I didn't use the Easy Rig.
But we had to carry it.
I think
we used it.
The story I told you about the missing bag, the funny thing is it arrived on our day when we left Kamchatka. So it arrived, we used the Easy Rig once, and then I checked it in again to fly home. So there was one time I used the Easy Rig, but yeah.
But only because you had to, because it arrived and you were, like, really happy to have it again.
And again, filters. I didn't use a lot of filters.
We used the gimbal, I guess, only in the subway.
Unfortunately, it was
gimbal.
a pain.
Fuck gimbals.
I
always bring my little gimbal. It's this little Zhiyun Crane 2. I think most people know it. It's called Gimbly, and everybody on this production is allowed to treat it really bad. If you have a bad day, there's Gimbly for you.
Yeah, we had so much fun.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys like gimbals?
They are just such a fuss to use. Like, whenever I just, like, you hold it and it's so wobbly. Like, when you attaching the camera, that's, like, really irritating. And then once you use it, you cannot really see the screen. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Gimbals are good for some certain shots. I mean, we used the gimbal for these shots we made. It wouldn't be possible without a gimbal. But for every other thing, it's just a pain in the ass. I think, I don't like gimbals. I don't like the way the shots look. I don't like the way it pans and stuff. I don't like it.
What could you have used but didn't bring? Lena also asked.
Nothing.
Chargers.
I would have liked to bring more coffee, actually.
Oh, your little coffee bags.
We were short on coffee.
There were not too many good, like, actually any coffee other than, like, these instant coffees. But in terms of equipment, I don't really have something. I think we brought too much, maybe.
As always.
We brought a little bit too much.
I always, like, okay, for the viewers out here, whenever I enter those guys' room, I just want to leave and die. Just like the whole floor is just covered with some stuff.
Me too.
Black.
I want to explain why. Maybe you guys saw the picture of me drinking beer in all this mess. The thing is, when you fly with this equipment, you have to pack it, like, really compressed in cases. So when you open it up, you have to remove everything, and then it just explodes, and then you have to rebuild everything. So everything is pretty planned out with the Alexa Mini and stuff, but it gets messy.
Please explain the workflow and techniques you use to easy workflow with Arri Alexa.
Yeah, I think the workflow with the Alexa is Yeah, the most important part is build it super small. Don't put on huge monitors. Don't have it too big. I even took off the viewfinder on some locations, and have enough batteries, have enough memory cards, so you don't have to wrangle the data, and yeah, just make it super small. I didn't have a follow focus or something like that. I did this with my hands, and when it's built super small and when everything is set up, I think it's the one of the easiest cameras to film with because everything is very straightforward.